Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, no matter when you are listening. Welcome to the fifth episode, I believe the fifth episode, of the CWL podcast. I am once again, and hopefully always, joined by my good friend and co-host, MaDaC. How are you doing today?
Yeah, pretty good. Thank you.
Good. Thank you once again for joining me. Thank you to our wonderful viewers, listeners. No matter how you consume this content, thank you for doing so. Before we jump into our lovely guest, who will be joining us very soon, I just want to plug a couple of things. The very first one of those being the Audible free trial that you can get simply by going to audibletrial.com/the CWL podcast. You can get 1 month of free Audible, which includes 1 audiobook download and 2 Audible original downloads. There are, I'm going to say, I forgot to check, but I'm going to guess around 100,000 or more audiobooks on there. There are, if you commute to work, if you have a long drive coming up, if you, I don't know, go on a train, anything, just you put the headphones in, you could just zone out, just close your eyes and listen to the beautiful words coming from whoever is reading your audiobook. Can't speak highly enough of it. My roommate has been listening to Harry Potter, so we have like a big open basement. She lives in the basement. We live upstairs, and like from my bed, I can hear her listening to Harry Potter at night. It's interesting, but anyway. So CWL Call of Duty, the CWL podcast on Twitter, Sony with a 7 on Twitter, MaDaC FPS on Twitter. You know, support all of those places. Anyway, you ready to jump into this?
Absolutely.
Should we bring our guest in? Would you like to bring him in right away?
So I think we were just going to go over last week's predictions first. I know you had that already. So also big shout out to everybody who's already followed the stream. Also, real quick, Jorge, I see you already asking. Sorry, no. Was it asked a second ago? I think it was Jorge asked if we were posting it onto Reddit, and yes, I've already done that. Thank you.
Yes, you're right. Thank you for reminding me. So last week, you'll remember at the very end of the show, we made some predictions about who was going to walk away with what kind of record after the end of this week. And if I remember rightly, MaDaC, you predicted that Accelerate were going to go 0-4. And
yep.
I hate to disappoint you, but they went 2-2.
Yep.
They are...
Yep.
They impressed me, really. I think we've talked about this to death, really, but you don't really expect very much of them. But they went 2-2. My predictions, I would like to say what I meant to say when I predicted that United were going to go 1-3 was actually that they would go 3-1. So technically, my prediction was right, but. In all honesty, I predicted they'd go 1-3, and they went 3-1. Absolutely did not give enough credit to Simp. I feel like he's like plugged the hole that was missing, like the last jigsaw piece. He's just slotted right in. I don't know if you're a jigsawer, but that's what.
I get it.
That's what we call ourselves with jigsawers. No, I have no fucking idea what I'm talking about. Just want to quickly acknowledge something that just happened on Twitter. Kenny has been phenomenal with tweeting out, retweeting our tweets, and the 100 Thieves coach has also tweeted out. So shout out to those guys.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, enough of me bullshitting.
So
let's get.
That's pretty much it as far as I think our predictions went. Then, really, right?
Mm-hmm. We sucked.
So basically, everybody sucked, and we should never make predictions again.
But we're going to.
So yeah, absolutely. We'll be doing that obviously once again this week, and you guys best be hanging around for that, just so that you can call us out on our bullshit next week as well. But yes, Zerg, I just want to pay attention to that as well in the chat. Zerg, yes, I definitely do remember you, aka Apollo. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you I hope you're doing well, and yeah, once again, thanks for... Oh, Lando predictions weren't the kindest this week. Yeah, exactly. So without further ado, yes, we are going to get Kenny onto the call. For most of you guys, you already know who Kenny is. Last year, kind of exploded into the scene. Obviously been around for a little bit longer than that, but last year really blew out. He is arguably, possibly the best SMG across the whole of World War II last year. What do you think about that, Sam?
Pretty undeniable. They won what?
Yeah.
3 championships?
Yep, they were pretty crazy. And then on top of that, this year managed to make it onto 100 Thieves. You guys probably have no idea, but I'm somewhat of a 100 Thieves fan.
I mean, the shirt, the jersey, the constant fandom didn't give it away.
Oh, this whole thing. Yeah, so I'm excited. I know, Sam, even not being a 100 Thieves fan, I know you're excited as well. Obviously, this year, being on 100 Thieves, like we said, had a bit of a controversial start to the year. Not a lot of people were the biggest fans of Kenny and the way things were turning out, but I think he's pretty much turning things around at this point. So,
we'll be talking
without further ado, let's get him into the call. Kenny! Look at these. Look at all the emojis in the chat right now. I love it.
There he is.
There he is.
Bang. Wait, how do I sound? Do I sound okay?
Yeah, it sounds good, man. Sounds good.
That's good. That's good. What's good? How y'all doing?
Pretty good. Pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing good. I actually just woke up from a nap, so kind of.
Me too. Yeah, me too. Honestly, we usually do this podcast a little bit earlier. Sam's an old man, so he's typically in bed by this point. Right. So yeah, I personally I streamed for like 8 hours earlier on today. Played some Call of Duty, Rocket League, and Dead by Daylight. So was on the grind, and yeah, had to take a nap definitely before I jumped in on this. So.
Right, got you.
All right, so Kenny, I don't know.
Go ahead.
Sorry, just quickly before we jump into the questions. I don't know if you have the chat open, but it seems like your mods and your subs are just going crazy in the chat.
Yeah, so. I can see. I'm looking at it right now.
Shout out to all those people. Thanks for coming to supporting us. Thanks for supporting Kenny.
It's my guys right there. Yeah. All right, so what are we talking about today? I just want to know.
We're gonna First question we kind of like to ask people, stolen from Optic Hex's podcast, is kind of, who are you today? Where, what are you? Who are you? Tell anybody that doesn't know.
Right. So I am Kenny. I play for 100 Thieves. I am the flex role, now. I run the MaDaC for my team. So basically, I'm like the more faster AR that can run a sub if needed. So I guess that's pretty much me. I'm the flex player for 100 Thieves.
When you don't have your control in your hands, like, what are you? Do you stream? Do you what is your life outside of the game?
Right. I'm normally on a nice stream schedule now. Recently, I've been streaming a lot. If I'm not, I'm usually like at the mall or something like that. I love mall shopping and just fashion in general.
Okay. That seems to kind of fit quite well in with the 100 Thieves brand, like the fashion,
Right. Yep. Pretty much. That's why I picked them, only for their apparel, to be honest. the merch is the only reason.
Yeah.
That tells the story of why everybody was throwing up the face signs earlier on this season. Right?
I forgot about that. Low key.
That was good. Awesome. So yeah, that's basically how we like to start off, just getting a little bit about who our guest is for anybody who doesn't know who you are. Although, yeah, once again, just reverting to the chat, I think pretty much everybody knows who you are today, so that's a good thing. So yeah, we basically a couple of topics today. We're going to go over some of the GA stuff that's been going on, some of the blacklisting drama that's been going on, and then of course a bit of a recap on the results of this week. I think we'll probably dive into, and then towards the end we're going to be doing a bit more of a like Q&A. We've pulled a few questions from Reddit, and of course we'll be asking chat as well if they have any questions.
Got you. Let's do it.
I'd like to start kind of back at the beginning of Black Ops 4. You form this team, just undeniable, just 5 superstar players,
right?
And it didn't go well to start off the season. There's no denying that.
Right.
But you get into the second week of the first stint in the league, and it just, you go from, was it dead last into first or second to last into first, just really turn shit around. So what was the biggest factor in that?
I think our biggest factor into like us succeeding was definitely probably our coach, to be honest. I think our coach was really big for us because with our old team, it came down to us not, I mean, I guess people can say ego clashing, but and like a lot of like, not arguments, but discussions about what went wrong and what was going wrong with our team. It led to a lot of arguments because people didn't want to listen to certain people. And our coach he came in as like the 6th man and like the final decider of like who was right and who was wrong during discussions. And it kind of led to us all believing in the coach and getting on the same page as the coach. And then that led to us as a team like getting on the same page. And that's what we really needed, because we all needed to be on the same page because certain people want to do certain things. And if we could all get on the same page with our talent, it kind of like could make us thrive, which is what showed and what we showed.
Right. So
we also need to learn the fundamentals of hardpoint again, and once that happened, it kind of helped us click too.
Okay.
Right.
So you're saying initially what was wrong is you kind of weren't all on the same page, and then when Crowder came in, he really helped you turn that around?
Yes, pretty much.
Yeah.
What would you say the biggest thing from Crowder was? Was it like just the organization of things, or really just the strategic point?
I think that from literally the first day we scrimmed with him in the call, we could tell that he's going to help us out a lot, just because of the fact that how attentive he was to like individual plays and just like the mini map in general. I think that he's one of like the smartest guys in COD. I mean, he's been around for the longest. He knows how to play the game. So I think that literally from the first day we knew that he could help us out a lot, because he was literally fixing problems that we couldn't fix with our old team the first day we played together with him in the call.
Right.
Yeah.
So what, aside from that, what does he kind of do for your team? Does he schedule scrims? What does he do?
So Crowder, he schedules all our scrims. He keeps like all our map counts of our scrims. He keeps map counts of other teams, like all of their map counts and what maps they're good at and what maps they're bad at. He does our vetoes for us, and simple as that. He's like our manager at events. Like for me, he gets me Red Bulls when I need them. He gets me all just anything I need basically. So he's like our manager and our coach at the same time. He gets us what do we need, and he has what we need, basically our vetoes and, like I said, all our map counts and what maps we're good at, what maps are bad at, what maps other teams are good at, and what maps they're bad at.
Right. So he's like got like 6 streams open at a time, just like writing everything down.
Yeah, basically. Well, he has like help from other people, but he get like if we went to him right now, we're like, what's blah blah's hardpoint record from this time to this time? He could tell us like instantly and like tell us like what maps they were good at that time and what maps they're good at now. So he
like a walking, talking COD stats.
Basically.
Love it. So just kind of to bounce off of that question, I guess. So what's the difference then between what he does and, well, not really the difference, but how much does MaDaC have to do with you guys? Does he do a lot?
So MaDaC was like attempting to be our coach during the time, and it wasn't really helping because he has his own job and he's like the esports manager for 100 Thieves, so he had to work with like all esports. There's no difference between him and MaDaC. It's just that Crowder's with us more than MaDaC is, and Crowder knows more about the game than MaDaC does.
Yeah, I think Crowder's obviously more in touch with the game and everything. MaDaC's kind of been out of it for a little bit.
Exactly.
So yeah, makes sense.
Right. So I'd like to kind of jump straight into some of the drama that's been happening in the scene right now. I'd love to get your opinion on, first of all, the Rampart What is your opinion on FMJ2? Like, where does 100 Thieves as a team kind of stand on the gentleman's agreement? I'm gonna call it bullshit. That's what it is in my opinion, but I'd love to hear yours.
So the Rampart, funny story. So there was, and before the game came out, we were asked to go play the game early, and we played the game early. And I was one of the first people to use the Rampart, and I was fine with the Rampart playing really well. And that day, I was like telling them, this is the best gun in the game, blah, 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 blah. And we ended up using 10 Ramparts that day just to try something out. And so we came home, and the Rampart is a gun that's not good online, but like insane on land. So like when we came home, we used it online and it sucked, but nobody really tried it after that. And we were also playing on land at the pre-test or whatever. So I think that honestly, I have no problem with the Rampart. I don't think that's the problem right now. I don't think anybody has a problem with the Rampart. It definitely was FMJ2, but the Rampart is also a gun that kills really, really insanely fast, and its time to kill is pretty insane. Me personally, I don't have a problem with it. I think that it's one of those guns where like if any other team uses it, they can like, I mean, any other player can be good with it. It's just the fact that it's a gun that's kind of cheesy to me. And I think that I don't know what we're on board with. I think my team wants a GA. I'm not really in the chat of GAing. I let my teammates do all that. I just kind of just play the game and shoot my MaDaC straight. So I let my teammates do all the GAing. So I don't really know where we are and where we stand in that. So, I personally think it should be GA'd because it kills too fast. And I think that the meta of MaDaC, SOG, and ICR is the perfect meta. I think that it's kind of the most competitive meta, and it's the most like realistic meta for a good game. And I think that the meta that we were at Fort Worth was pretty fun until the Rampart showed.
What would you say to someone who was saying that COD players don't like to adapt, and that's why they just GA everything rather than adapting?
Right. I think that people gotta understand that if every other team pulled out a Rampart, that they could be good with it. Like we could pull out a Rampart and we could possibly do as good as LG has been doing. And I think that it's not the point of adapting, it's the point that what's the most competitive for us as pros. I definitely think that as a fan looking in, that it is more entertaining to have more guns in, but for us it's more competitive and to have a certain 3 guns to use, which is the best meta. Like I said, MaDaC, SOG, and ICR. Adding a gun like the Rampart where it literally kills insanely fast, and it's just I don't know. I don't think it's not that pros can't adapt. If you're a professional Call of Duty player, you know how to use every gun. And if we put this on Reddit, people are like, oh, Kenny can't use a SOG. But if I put the time in to use a SOG now, where I've learned the game and I've grinded the game more than a lot of people, I think that I could definitely use a SOG now. I could definitely use a Rampart. I think any player could definitely use a Rampart. That's why I say the gun is cheesy, because any player could use that gun.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, I think it's definitely an interesting point. I know, obviously, you know, looking at, for example, even like CSGO, it's mainly just 3 guns that get used, unless they have to buy something else because they don't have the economy for it, right? So I think it's definitely a good point. Now, the problem is obviously that gap between the pros and the community, right? So how would you see that kind of leveling out? Do you think it's just a case of we keep on doing what the pros are saying, which is, as you just said, keeping those 3 main guns, and eventually it'll just kind of even out and the community will just accept it? Or do you think that there's something that needs to be done on like the developer side of things?
I definitely think that I feel like developers should be more into like GAs, like more attentive to those. But I definitely like I said that it just sucks that it's only pros, because now like I feel like it's gonna come to the point where like people are just gonna like forget all the GAs and start using everything, which definitely makes the game not competitive. Like I said, 3 guns 3 guns have always been the meta for every COD, and that's been the most competitive, and it's been the best meta for every COD. Only guns that get used like differently are like snipers and SMD, which is like that's okay, that's fine. And respawns has always been 3 guns, and I feel like adding a gun like the Rampart Just like I said before, it doesn't make it competitive. And it's the fact that, like I said, if every team that doesn't want the gun in uses it, I think that certain teams will be better than LG. Which is a team that does it, that does want to use it.
Right.
So you think if people put aside their being reluctant to use it, they could actually beat LG with a Rampart?
Yes.
Okay.
But it's the fact that nobody wants a cheesy gun like the Rampart N, because the meta with the 3 guns is the best meta.
Right. So slightly moving on from that, have you kept up with kind of the blacklist stuff that's kind of
A
around
little bit.
recently?
I've read about. I mean, I've seen stuff on Twitter. I've seen stuff on Reddit. Like I said, I'm not really into like chat on any of that. I know a little bit about it because of clips I've seen on Reddit and Twitter. So yeah.
Okay, so you don't really have any kind of behind the scenes scoops that you can give us. It's just kind of what everybody's seen.
I mean, it's as simple as, yo, y'all want to scrim LG? It's like, yo, they're gonna use a Rampart? No, then we're not scrimming them. It's as simple as that. Like, it's like, okay. I mean, I wouldn't say it's like, I mean, it is blacklisting at the end of the day, but it's just the fact that there's so many other teams that don't want to use it, and it's just one team that does want to use it. And for me, like I said, I have no problem with them using it. I'm not really into that. But it's just I have teammates, and my teammates think otherwise. So I'm definitely gonna like back up my teammates at the end of the day. And
obviously.
And like I said, it just comes down to like, if we want to scrim them and we use a Rampart, I think we would just do perfectly fine. That's not the fact that we can't adapt to the Rampart. We're professional players. We know how to use every gun. Yeah, I mean,
so
that's it.
The thing with that though, so obviously right now in the current state, it's not banned, right? No. So technically, obviously they are allowed to use it, and obviously going into a tournament, you know, you guys might have GAs and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, there's actually nothing stopping anybody from pulling out a Rampart in a final or something like that, right? So like, again, as a person, like as a team in your guys' situation, would it not be better to at least sometimes practice against that kind of meta, just in case you ever have to go against it, obviously in a final or whatever?
So yeah, I would agree with that if, like I said, if it was a gun that wasn't as cheesy as a Rampart. And it's like, no offense to Classic, but he went from like a 0.7, something like there, 0.8 to a 1.2 or something like that, I think. Like that is I don't think people understand how big of a difference that is. I don't think people understand the big difference in that. And I'm not like coming at Classic at all. He's a talented COD player. But if your stats can go from that to that in a short time period at an event without having to practice with the gun, then that just shows how cheesy the gun is. So I don't think people have to practice. That's the thing. I don't think people have to practice with the Rampart. You can literally just pull it out and do good with it.
I feel like kind of going off what Maxi was just saying, like, I think we've seen this previously at like champs tournaments where like Ricky would pull out the riot shield in S&D to kind of cheese, but it worked, and then they won because they caught the other team off guard and they weren't ready. So I wouldn't be surprised if we kind of saw all of these GAs going out the window as it gets closer and closer to champs, because ultimately everyone wants that ring, everyone wants that money. So
so I mean, I can agree. One thing about GAs is that it's usually talked to other teams about before the match, like, yo, you're gonna use this and you use that. So we usually know before the match. If people come out and just be that guy and just use it anyways, then it's kind of like, if we see it, I mean, it comes to the fact that like we have so many classes, you can just like, yo, let's make one just in case they do use it.
Just in case.
So I can definitely see. I'm glad there's no riot shield in this game. But like I said, we play a team and we're like, I mean, they might just use the Rampart, just make a class just in case. And we see it pulled out, we can just pull it out and just adapt mid game. But like, nobody wants to just use the Rampart now just to adapt to one team's meta. It's literally one team's meta. It's not like it's multiple teams meta. It's just one team's. It's like, why adapt to one team's meta when like we're gonna play other teams that don't want to use Rampart? And so we're practicing with the Rampart, and now you're not practicing with the gun that actually takes more skill than the Rampart. And now when you pull that gun out versus a team that don't use a Rampart, you're kind of not as good.
Yeah. Now, I mean, I guess the only other question though about that is, do you think they'll stop?
I think that I mean, they play pretty well, I guess. I don't know what their record was at the Pro League. I think that as the Pro League goes on, and if they start doing bad, that they will. I think if they keep playing good, they won't. Which, I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense in the general manner, but behind the scenes, it kind of doesn't make sense. I think that once they start doing bad and like they're getting less and less of scrims because of them being quote unquote blacklisted, I think they'll fall in and just be like, we need the scrim, we need the practice, and end up not using it. Yeah.
Right.
Just one more thing on the topic before we move on. Do you think like the CWL or Treyarch or whoever should step in and kind of put an end to these GAs, or do you think that it's always going to be that they're kind of catering more towards the public lobbies?
So I know that people like Activision, all of them want to have as much in and less out. Basically, they don't like how we have stuff banned. They don't want stuff banned. They want to make stuff like new stuff into the game every year. I definitely think that they should have an input into the GAs. But I also think that there's always going to be GAs. They can't put it into it. There's always going to be something that's in the game that's not as competitive that they want in, but we don't want in. It's always going to be a clash there because they want as much in as possible, where we want the 3-gun meta, where we want just these certain things, 3 guns, and we don't want cheesy things in. So like I said, they want to keep as much in as possible, and we want to have as much competitiveness as possible.
Makes sense.
Sorry, quickly, just one. I know I said last thing last time, but just said in the chat that with a ban and protect, that this probably could all be avoided, and I kind of agree with that. You don't agree?
No, because ban and protect leads to like just
things slipping through
weirdness. Like people would scrim, like say like we play on this game and we have ban and protect. People would just be weird and ban the MaDaCs. It's like, and they're gonna practice without the MaDaCs because they can sit there and practice. And now we got to race to save the MaDaCs when our usual ban is we like to ban stuns, but we got to go save the MaDaCs now and waste a ban on saving the MaDaCs because the team wanted to be weird and ban the MaDaCs. So ban and protect was never good and isn't good.
Fair enough.
That's just my input, honestly. Like people can go and like ban like red dot sights and elos. Like now we got to use an iron sight. I've never used iron sight in my life, so that's the randomness of ban and protect.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, we heard from one of our other guests their opinion on that, and it's actually 2 very contrasting points on the ban and protect for sure. So. Yeah, I think it's one of those things that can definitely work both ways. Right. I think the biggest thing with ban and protect is obviously there definitely needs to be some kind of like maybe it's not you can't ban guns and stuff like that.
That's like a GA. See, you get that would be considered like a gentleman's agreement. So that's what I'm saying. Like GAs will always be in. No matter what, because it's the most competitive. Like you take away a red dot and an elo, you take away the MaDaCs, that's just not competitive. It's like you're trolling me at this point. So that's why I say GAs will always be in, even no matter what, because you can say that, make sure you don't ban this gun, but then that team scrims without that gun. So it's like they can ban if they want, but you got to have that gentleman's agreement to not do it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it just seems to add another level of gentleman's agreements rather than just taking them away, really.
Right.
Anyway, so just kind of going on, finishing off with that ban and protect. Do you think that obviously the pros' opinions on that is something that has led Treyarch to not put it into the game again?
Ban and protect, yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Because I think that it got a lot of bad feedback when it was used in Black Ops 3. Just because I didn't play Black Ops 3 because I was too young, but I've heard stories about teams being weird and using the wrong stuff. And like I said, some of my teammates, and like there's a person on each team that has contact to a developer. I think that behind the scenes there have been bad feedback on ban and protect, and that's why it hasn't been back.
Makes sense. One question going from the chat as well. This is from Snowy Wolf. he was asking why don't the devs do something about the GAs and the opinions about armor and other things and thing. You've kind of already touched on that. Obviously mentioning about the fact that they want to keep most things in, right? Do you think that's pretty much it?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. They want to keep, like, in the beginning, we were given a list on what should be banned and what shouldn't be banned. It was a list of everything in the game, and they told us that they wanted to keep as much in as possible. So don't try not to ban too much. And like I said, I can understand it because they're like appealing to the audience they have, and it makes sense. It makes sense. It can't be argued. That makes sense. But like I said, at the end of the day, that's not competitive. We can go around shooting people with rocket launchers. It looks cool, but it's not competitive. But no, yeah. I mean, I definitely think they should do something about the GAs. They should get more input into the GAs. But at the end of the day, there's always gonna be GAs. Like, they can't stop it. That's the thing. GAs is something you just can't stop. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, to stop a GA, you can't. It's like one of those things. It sucks that it's there, but since it's there now, it just can't be stopped.
Do you think that it's actually possible to get to a point where we have so because I know you were saying obviously right now the ideal thing is 3 guns that are the most competitive and that's it, but do you think that we could ever get to a point where the game's that balanced where we can actually have more than 3 guns?
I definitely think so. I don't know, it's just the fact that, like, with 5v5 now, I think we could, and there's more roles. There's more roles into a 5v5, and I think that, like I said, Rampart is just one of those guns that just doesn't need to be practiced. And if there is a different role added, then maybe. But at the end of the day, you have 2 subs, you have 2 ARs, you have 1 flex. Most of the time, those 2 ARs are going to use the same gun. That 1 flex is going to use his gun, and those 2 subs are going to use their gun. Maybe they toss on a sub that can be competitive or can be used, but like, it's always the factor that this sub's better than this sub. There's always gonna be a gun better than another gun. So maybe, but it just comes down to like I said, it's like one of those things. Like, if you pull out this random gun and you just completely destroy with it, then people are gonna look like, oh, maybe that gun's OP. And it's bad that it's seen that way, but it's seen that way. And it's tough too, because people are GA and stuff, and the people that don't want this gun GA'd are the main people that started GAs. So that's tough.
So while we're kind of on the topics of like rules and things like that, there was another good thing brought up in the chat as well, which is fog of war. So one guy just basically Purify said, why is fog of war still in the game? I feel like it would be way more competitive if it was out.
I'm gonna answer that question real quick. I don't know. I actually don't know. I've talked to multiple people, and they said they brought it up. We don't know. I actually don't know what the answer to that is. I don't want it in the game. I think it's never been in COD. It's kind of like one of those things where, like, I don't know. We don't know why it's still in the game. I think that people say that if you turn it off, it still works, but I don't think that's the case, because I play S&D tournaments all the time, and we turn it off, and it doesn't do it. I think that I literally, like, you can't play a corner at all and play a smart play because you get seen by other team, and it's just like, and it's like, it wouldn't be bad if it was actually how they interpreted it to be. Like, they wanted to be like, if you see somebody in your line of sight, then you would see it on the map. But there's times where, like, because if you look at the mini map, when a person's walking around, it has like a little, like a line of sight, like, showing on the mini map, and that thing can, like, look through the wall and see a person on the other side of the wall that you don't actually see.
And that's the biggest problem.
And that's the problem. Yeah, and that's because of how the game's made, and like how paper thin the walls are in games, and the fact that there's like parts of the wall that aren't filled in, and you can just see through it, but you don't actually see through it in the game. But
but how many have you, like, so far in the Pro League or even at one of the LAN events so far, have you found yourself clutching a situation because of fog of war?
I wouldn't say clutching a situation, not because I wouldn't say clutching. There's definitely certain times where, like, my teammates will get big kills because I'm across the map and I call out for them, because I don't think that the person that gets fog of war sees it. That makes sense.
Right.
Yeah. So you have to call out for your teammates. Like, there's a day that, I posted a YouTube video the other day, and I was literally sitting like middle map and I'm calling out for my teammates across the map, like, yo, he's in the corner to your left, and they end up getting a kill, and it's like, I should not be able to do that. Like,
yeah,
that's so like, I wouldn't say clutch situations. It definitely is a big kill because that kill could have led to a lot. But the fact that I called him out from literally across the map is kind of stupid.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I really agree with what you said. I think it's the inconsistency that is the problem. I do like that Treyarch seems to try and innovate. They have the ban and protect. They have the fog of war. They try out these things. They don't always work, to be fair, but they try it. It's just the inconsistency that I really have the problem with. And if they can make it work properly,
then
as intended, then it would be good. But
exactly. Like I said, there are times where like pros don't see everything that they're supposed to see. Yeah. Like where you're looking and you're paying attention to your mini map for 1 second and you see a guy run past your screen. Like you should be able to like see that guy on the mini map. I agree. But then like I said, you see people through walls all the time. You even see people behind you that you're not supposed to see. So it's kind of like, they fix those things. It would be a good thing.
Now, going based off of kind of what Sam was saying, obviously Treyarch doing a good job at trying things out, trying to see what works and what doesn't, things like that. I think a very touchy subject with the community in general, and this is not necessarily with pros involved and things like that, but it is the whole league play situation. Obviously, they pretty much, I think we all agree that they pretty much nailed it back on Black Ops 2.
Yeah, but no, I think that World War II is the best one.
World War II?
Yes, I think that.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, World War II is the best one just because once you got to a high rank, you played other high ranks. It just got to the point where like there wasn't enough people playing the game, so that you would like have to play against lower levels, and the game would just make you play against lower levels. I think that since this game's so popular and they do the World War II system where like it's elo, and the more you win, you gain more elo, blah blah blah. And you just play against people of your elo range, and that worked perfectly because us pros, obviously, we win most of our games. So we like when I got to the highest elo, I'm playing against pros every time, and this is good practice for me. Where like now I play against people where I literally shoot them in the back and they don't even react; they just keep running. I'm like, "Hello, I'm shooting you." Blah, blah, blah. It's like I shouldn't be playing against people like that.
You must have played against Sam.
I was about to say I feel personally offended that you called me out like that, dude.
No, I just know if this is them. It's just like people shouldn't start off like that. Yeah, no, I feel you. It's just like, yes, you start off at the lowest rank, but it's like it doesn't get any more competitive. Like I play against high ranks all the time, and it's like, bro, you shouldn't be here. You literally are here because you put more time into league play than others. But
that's what I was about to say. It just seems to come down to time played rather than skill, which is
exactly
really frustrating.
Which I mean, that's what I'm pretty sure the update is supposed to fix that. That's what they said. Hopefully.
Yeah.
I don't know if the update that they just put out did it. I've been playing league play and it has been more competitive. I don't know if that was the case, but
yeah, so I think they made a couple of changes, but I think the main thing that they did was just added a couple of extra levels. But then they were doing some more updates to come, which were gonna include
skill-based
some things. Like
I think the specific ones you mentioned, I think I saw either April 4th, April 2nd, so next week.
Right. Okay. Then I think that'll fix it. I personally like the system of the gym system. Like I said, I think the World War II system was the best, but I think that they can make it work if it was a skill based, like where obviously you have to be good to get to the highest level, not just keep constantly playing.
Right. So I want to shift gears a little bit. I want to. I know it's backtracking a little bit, but I'd like to talk about the scheduling scrims. So I've seen a lot on Twitter the last couple of days that people are saying they've been scheduling scrims at 1, at 4. Like, is that something that your team has been able to do?
Right.
Just bringing the schedule further forward in the day.
So it's always been the talks that why do pros scrim so late? Yeah. And I definitely I'm not really an early person, but I definitely agree to the early schedule. Like today at the scrim, we got done at like 7. I took a nap, so it's like that was perfect. Nice. And I feel like yes, we have recently. I think certain teams like Gen G, I mean, Optic's been doing it. Splice, like a lot of teams are agreeing to it, and a lot of pros agree that that's the better way to do scrims. But like I said, it's always been talked in the past, never been like something that like started. I think Gen G actually started the wave of like doing early scrims. So the fact that teams are actually getting on that, but it's just come to the fact that some teams are kind of late, and that just ruins schedules in general.
But then,
go ahead.
Does that like improve? Does that make the scrims better overall? Does it make them? Are they still the same? Like, does that affect them at all?
I don't think it affects scrims. I think it just affects like pro players' lifestyle. Because like you get more time to do a lot of things. Like you scrim late at like 6 or something like that. You end at like 10 or 11. Now the rest of my day is gone. I have to wake up early just to do stuff. And like I said, I'm not a morning person, so like if I could just get done like 6 or 7, I can like go do something. And it's like stuff is open at 6 or 7. And take a nap. Right. So it's like. Yeah, I think that it doesn't really affect how the scrims go. It just affects like pro player like lifestyles.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Like, it's affected your life presumably because you get your evenings off. It's like getting your evening off work, really.
Right, exactly. Yeah. It's like it's way easier to do things like that. And like I said, it's always been in the talks, just never been a thing that was done. And I'm glad that Gen G kind of started that.
Yeah,
nice. So another question I'm going to pull from the chat. It was from Sagib. He asked who touches the most time in scrims.
LG's always been one time torture. Lately, it has been Optic. It has been Optic. They've done it multiple times. But I mean, people are always late. That's the thing. Like some people are late for reasons that they can't control. But I just think that when scrims are scheduled a day before, you kind of like have to be there. And with our team, we all get on like 30 minutes early. With most of us, we stream like before scrims. Like me, always stream 2 hours before scrims, so I'm always on time. But a lot of us get on like 30, 45 minutes early, and we're in the call just talking about our day and like what we need to work on today. So I think that's kind of beneficial.
Yeah, I mean, I can say straight away you were the most on-time person I think we've had on the podcast yet.
Oh, absolutely.
BZ was pretty close. He came on a couple of episodes ago, and then we had Bandy, who was quite late. It was like Sam was almost falling asleep.
2 hours, wasn't it?
Yeah, because it was the day after they just picked up Basilium.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so they had to jump in scrims. Right. And then we had Parasite on last week. I don't know if you can call it that, but he basically jumped out of the middle of the scrim to join the podcast. Really? Yeah, and then we had a bunch of his team and the team that they were scrimming in my chat, kind of giving Haggy shit. So yeah, that was fun.
That was real fun.
I mean, props. Yeah, props for being on time. I like it.
No problem.
So going back to kind of what you just said about Optic being the time torches as of recent, I do want to just touch on the whole crim drama.
Right. So
what are your thoughts? And
so they explained the situation. Basically, we were going to scrim them, and we were ready to scrim, and like obviously we want to play on time. We had our scrim scheduled like for a certain time, so we're sitting there. I'm like, yo, what are we waiting on? And so crowd is like, we're waiting on them. I'm like, what are they doing? They're like, they're watching the end of a basketball game. I'm like, what? We're trying to play. So we literally sat there for a few more minutes, and I'm like, are they ready? They're like, no, they're watching the basketball game. So I'm like, bro, I'm about to just get off because I'm like, at this point, I don't even want to play. Like, they're just wasting time. And yeah, it wasn't that long, but it's like, we had a certain scheduled time. You don't just show up to work and be like, oh, okay, I was watching the basketball game at home. My bad. Like, that's not a thing. So that happened. And then like I said, they kind of like started roasting us, and Crim just started coming at us because we didn't want to play anymore because of the fact that they were late. But then again, we came at them because we went to the pre-land with Optic, and they were late most of the days. They were in it, and like he was saying how we didn't want to scrim their team, but the last day we played, we predicted on playing Splice first time. So how it went every day is like you played a team, and then once y'all like if two teams started at the same time, they finished at the same time, obviously, and then you would just pick the team that you would play next on the other side. So what happened was we played Splice, and Optics showed up late, so they started with Heretics late. And so when we finished against Spice, we're like, damn, they're still playing, and they were on like the first controls. They just started controls. Like that's like another hour. We would have to sit there for another hour and not play anything. So we asked Spice to rerun, which a lot of teams do rerun. So we asked them to rerun. We replayed against them. That's 2 scrims, and so every day teams played 3 scrims. So because there's 3 teams other than your team. So we planned on playing S&D because of the fact that was going to, like, we needed S&D practice. The tournament was in a few days, and that was our last little practice. So we're gonna play S&D scrim, and then they came to us asking us why we're playing S&D scrims, but we could be scrimming another team. So Scump literally told us to play Heretics, and we said okay. We played Heretics. That was our third scrim. Right. We called it a day because our teammate Octane was sick, and they got mad and said we didn't want to play them, but that was just never the case. And so it's kind of like you were late there to your own pre-LAN when it's LAN, and then you're late online. I can understand late online, but in your own pre-LAN, it's kind of it's whatever. I mean, I don't really get into that drama. Like I said, it's just weird when people lie. It's like something like you don't like. Why lie about being late? Who cares? Nobody cares you're late. Like you agree. Oh, I was late. That doesn't ruin your career. It's not like you're about to go to jail because you were late. It's like just say you were late. You didn't have to lie about it. And it's like he was just saying how he wasn't late. We were like, bro, we were there. You were late. We didn't. And then they were saying how we refused to play them. It's like nobody refuses to play anybody. That's not a thing.
Yeah.
And it's like obviously they were the best team in the game, and at the time, and it's like we wanted to play against you, if anything. And like if we didn't play Heretics that day, we would have played them instead. But we were literally told by Scump to play Heretics because they were waiting. So we played Heretics, which was our third scrim. We never played 4 scrims a day. We never played 5. We never played 2. We played 3. So why would we be the only team to play 4 scrims in one day and everybody else played 3? Yeah. That's just not a thing. So it's like, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not really into the drama, stuff like that. I kind of was in World War II, but I'm kind of changing my ways. I'm on my vibes, my good vibes lately.
Yeah, I feel like you come across as a good guy, Kenneth.
People dislike me. I don't know why. They won't tell me. They say it's because of my ego. And it's kind of like I feel like a lot of people follow the wave. People don't even really know what my ego is. People just follow the wave. Oh, people say he has an ego. I'm gonna say he has an ego. People really don't know why they don't like me. It's funny.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a pretty common theme throughout the community. A lot of times people start to form their own opinions, and then when you ask them why they have that opinion, they have absolutely no idea whatsoever. It's probably because they've just heard somebody else say something and they've jumped on that back.
Exactly.
Right? So yeah, I've funnily enough, I've seen a couple of people in the chat as well who were just saying that they actually got banned by Crim due to that argument on Twitter as well. So yeah. Interesting.
So while we're talking about toxic people and toxic things, I would like to ask you a quick question about Reddit. Do you go on the Call Competitive subreddit? Is that
yeah, sometimes, yeah, I do. I once when I was getting roasted, I kind of cut it off because it was bad vibes for me. So kind of just like cut that out and just never went on there. But I go on there for fun sometimes, yeah. I mean, my teammates tell me about funny stuff on there, and I just there's a car outside. But yeah, I go on there sometimes.
I feel like a lot of people have a very bad opinion of it just because people, they do talk shit on there, but to me it just shows like how passionate these people are. Like they spend hours, literally hours, sitting behind a screen watching you play a video game, and that they care about it so much that they go online and then talk about it again. Like
I agree to a certain extent. I think that some people go in there and say the wrong things. Like when at the time where like my team was making a change and I got moved instead of Pharaoh, I stayed instead of Pharaoh. People were just saying how people were saying on Reddit how like I was forcing my teammate Slasher to run a SOG, and it's like that's not true. Where do you get this info from? And people were like, I'd take the feedback of people saying, "Oh, Kenny, you suck with a SOG," because that's factual. That's facts. I will say it. I sucked with a SOG. I think that if I use it now, I'll be good. But I did suck with the SOG. But to say I refuse to run the SOG is just never the case. And I feel like it's just stuff like that where like people go in there and just say the wrong things. It's like it is. I don't know. It just comes to a certain extent where it is funny and it is a roast. Like people go in there and roast all the time, and I think it's funny when people roast me sometimes. Like we made a 100 Thieves video where in the video I said, "Oh, I can't shoot straight because of my controller," and people were like, "Oh, Kenny's speaking facts." And it's like, oh, that was hilarious. I laugh at that. But then people go in there and say the wrong things all the time, and people post the wrong things. And like people post things from streams all the time, and I swear I don't see them in my chat. It's like I'll say something on stream like, "Oh, this person sucks." I go on Reddit and it's like, "Kitty's talking trash about this player." I'm like, I don't remember you even saying anything in my chat. It's like I don't know. I love Reddit. Reddit can get out of hand sometimes, but it definitely is a fun place to go look at sometimes.
Right. It was the video you were talking about, the Tostinos one, because that video was hilarious.
Oh no, not that one. It was like one of our like our documentary series.
Oh, okay.
But
right.
Yeah, that Tostinos one was pretty funny. It was pretty cringy when we recorded it. Not gonna lie, but it was pretty funny.
Yeah. So, how is 100 Thieves as a whole? Like, I feel like the 100 Thieves, when it was first conceived, when it was like the team the organization that sponsored Sensor and promised him an Elgato and then never followed through, to the 100 Thieves now, it's like two completely different organizations. Like, how is that? How are they for you? Like, do they treat you well?
100 Thieves, I'm not even saying this because I'm on the team, but like they're like the most amazing people ever. Like Matt Nadeshot Hag is probably our biggest fan. Literally, he's the owner and he's literally our biggest fan. And it just shows a lot for how like attentive they are to us. Like, he watches our scrims. Like when we're boot camping at the Red Bull headquarters, he would literally come up there and just sit behind us and watch us. Like that's like a big thing for us, and it just shows how much they like how they feel about us. And just when you meet the 100 Thieves, like managing people, they're just so nice and just so cool. And like 100 Thieves, like they tweet out our clips all the time. They just it's a lovely org. And like when I first joined, Matt like told me that he wanted to help me work on my brand, and ever since I've joined, they've done everything in their best ability to help me build my brand.
Is the 100 Thieves that you see on camera, that's the real 100 Thieves?
That
like all the management, all the
not really. Some of the people are behind the scenes that you don't really see.
No, I mean like that's like the real personalities. It's not just for the camera.
Yeah. Wait, yeah, no. Well, our team for sure. I can't really speak for the LOL people. We've met them, Legends people. We met them once. They're really cool people though. They are really cool people, real down to earth. But everybody else that you see on camera is definitely the same. They're not doing it for the camera or anything. It's always good vibes when you're hanging around anybody from the 100 Thieves family.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like that's one thing that I can definitely go out and say myself is just from doing the podcast to previous like interactions on Twitter, obviously watching people's streams, things like that. I think it's pretty consistent across the board, where there just seems to be good vibes throughout the whole organization, right? So I feel like it's somewhat refreshing to see within this community, especially.
I definitely think that 100 Thieves out of most orgs has like some of the most positive fans too. They have a lot of good fans that just shows so much love and so much support. It's crazy. But no, like I said, there's always good vibes. Every time we fly out to Cali and hang out with 100 Thieves, it's amazing. It's fun, and it's LA, so it's kind of like can't really have bad vibes there.
I do have to ask, when's it going to be your turn with the camera? I know I love the video.
I start this week. I'm actually this week at the Pro League. We leave on Sunday, and I'll actually be double vlogging because I'm vlogging for myself and for 100 Thieves.
Right.
Nice.
You have some big shoes to fill because Enable's video was hilarious.
I know. I think I can do it though. I think I can do it.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing's for sure, you'll at least have better hair than Enable.
I think most people really wanted to see me because a lot of people look at me as this fashionable person, and people want to just see how I dress and stuff like that. I think I'm definitely gonna do a lot of that. I don't think I can be as funny as Ian, but I could try. I can definitely put him in there a lot just to like take the camera off me and make him funny. But,
what was it? The feet heat?
Oh, feet heat, yeah.
That was so funny.
That guy's hilarious.
All right, so someone just popped up into chat. Quite I'm not sure how you say that name. Anyway, asking who's your duo on the team? Is there one person that you're kind of closest to?
Enable, easily. Enable's become he's become like one of my top 2 favorite teammates of all time, and I haven't had that many teammates, but he's actually one of my like all-time favorite teammates just because he's always good vibes. He's hilarious, one of the funniest people I've ever met, and like he's a good teammate. He's really like one of the best teammates you could ever have. So definitely Enable is probably my duo.
Nice.
You said he's your top 2. Who would your other person be?
Agassi Lamar Agassi. I mean, both of them are like my best friends. I mean, talk to them about everything. They're like more than teammates. I mean, I've become really good friends with my teammates now. So they definitely could be on that list easily.
Nice. So, I mean, continuing down the path, obviously, I think we've kind of moved on from the topics that we had set in stone for this week, but then maybe the predictions, actually. Do you want to go over that first, Sam, before we move on to the Q&A?
Sure, yeah.
So, this upcoming week...
I'm sorry.
It's all good, all good. Yeah. So, obviously, this upcoming week, you guys are going to be heading out to the Pro League. Like you said, you're going to be vlogging and everything else. However, you do have some other things to concentrate on, aka your matches. I just want to kind of run through, obviously, some of the matches that are going to be going on, and just kind of get your opinions and what your predictions are going to be.
Gotcha.
So first of all, similar style to what me and Sam will be predicting actually afterwards. Out of all the teams that are going to be competing in this upcoming week, which team do you think is going to go 4-0?
Can I say us or?
I was expecting that to be a lot quicker. Yes, of course.
I didn't want to be that guy, but I was like us. Like, I mean, who is all coming? Splice is coming, so. We don't play Splice though, but I think that us and Splice will go 4 now.
Okay.
I don't know who else is coming. Yeah, that's the only thing.
So we've got Denial, Gen G, Midnight, Splice, E6, Optic, Reciprocity, and you guys.
I think us and Splice will go 4 now.
Perfect. Yeah. Who do you think is going to go 0-4?
Denial.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
I will have to say you do have a real tough match first of all on Monday against Reciprocity.
Yeah.
Is there any special things you've done to prepare for them?
Nothing really. Just kept our same practice. I mean, we still, like, even though we look so good at Fort Worth, we still have stuff to fix. So we've been working on that day by day, and not to like downgrade their gameplay, but we didn't have Priesta, so kind of was a tough match for us at Fort. Like I said, I'm not downplaying them. They played amazing. I mean, they have a disgusting roster, but I just can't wait to play them.
Yeah. Just to touch on that briefly, it was absolutely heartbreaking. I felt like that was absolutely your event to get at least top 2, and you know, how was that being on the inside of that as you kind of everything's out of your control and it's just falling apart around you?
I think it hurt more than that. It hurt more that we lost that way, to be honest. I would have rather us lose with our team than with fill-in, just because of the fact that now we have this what if in our mind. We're like, what if we did have Priesta? And it hurts a lot, to be honest, because it's something we couldn't control. And also, like I said, it could have been a what if. We could have won the event. We could have placed top 2. We could have placed way better. We could have done anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, sorry, just to jump back to the Pro League then.
You're good.
What are so Tuesday you're playing against Midnight. What are your thoughts on this roster? I think we haven't seen very much from them yet.
Exactly. Like, not gonna sugarcoat it, but they got absolutely smoked at Fort. So kind of don't really have anything to say to them. I definitely, as like names, they are a good team on paper.
Right.
Yeah.
What was that? Something's in my living room like screeching. On paper, they're a good team, but like I said, at Fort Worth, they got smoked. I'm assuming they started scrimming more, and I'm hoping they make it an interesting match.
Yeah. So
yeah, do you think that? So obviously, like Sam said, and you said as well, really, they're obviously an interesting roster. They've got some good names on paper. We did obviously see a bit of drama with that team, basically within the first couple of days. We obviously kind of touched on that a little bit with Parasite last week. But looking from the outside in, obviously knowing who these players are and probably knowing a little bit about their habits, do you think that it is a team that can kind of pull themselves together, or do you think that they probably need to make a change before that team's actually going to be any good?
I'm going to be honest, I don't even know the full roster, but I know it's like Parasite, isn't Blastful on that team? Saints?
Yep.
Who was the other two?
Let me pull it up.
Lacefield and what?
Who's the last person?
Lamagod.
I don't know really much about Lamagod or Lacefield, but I don't think composure-wise, I don't know. I couldn't really speak because I've never really teamed with most of them. But from looking from the outside in, I mean, Haggie's always looked at as that bad person. I don't think he's like intentionally like bad vibes. I just think that how he portrays himself or just like how he acts is just bad vibes, and I don't think he notices it. It's not really like something he should change. Obviously, don't change, but I think that I don't know. I don't think they can really if they're arguing like how we argued. I don't think they're coming back from that, because there were parts of the times where like I was like me and Slash were just going at it, just like going at it. There's no way we were teaming, but like but I don't really know them as players or as teammates, so I couldn't really speak for that.
I think, interestingly enough, going back to something we talked about right at the beginning, they're actually the only team in the Pro League without a coach. So,
I think a coach can help them.
Right. If they were to bring one on, maybe they could have the same effect that Crowder had with you guys. But
exactly.
We'll never know, really.
Right.
Then, so let me see. Wednesday, you play against Gen G. That'll be the top 2 seeds from each group fighting against each other division. Thank you. How do you feel going into that? Like, does the fact that they're the top seed intimidate you at all? Do the teams ever intimidate you? Like,
I don't think teams ever like intimidate me.
Okay.
Obviously not gonna take them lightly because we know they're a good team.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I always look at it as if my team always plays our game, we will win. And I just go in as confident as possible and with that mindset, because I know as us 5 players that we're all individually talented enough to win against other teams. So like I said, if our team plays how we know we're supposed to play and how we should play, then we come out with a dub versus every team.
Right. And then
okay, so yeah, go on.
I was just gonna say, then your last match is against Optic.
Optic, yeah.
Personally,
that is the match.
I'm very much looking forward to that match.
I think everybody is, to be honest. I'm looking forward to that match. Not just because of the Optic and Hunter T. We haven't played them on land once, like at a tournament or anything. So it's gonna be fun to play against them. And probably will be the most viewed Pro League match.
Yeah, I think there's so many storylines. Obviously, the nade shot thing, all the drama that happened at the pre-LAN. Like, it's such a good way to end out the league. I'm just so looking forward to that.
Right. That's gonna be a fun one, 100%.
Yeah.
So, based off of that last match, and moving kind of more into the Q&A section of this podcast now, the first question I want to ask you is, what makes the 100 Thieves fan base better than the Green Wall?
I don't think 100 T has as many fans yet as the Green Wall. Like I said, 100 T has a lot of positive fans, and from the stuff I've gotten from some of the Green Wall fans, I don't. Like I said, I'm kind of biased because I'm on 100 Thieves, but like I said, they have some of the most positive fans ever, and I don't think either fan base is better than either. I think that having a fan base is just a really good thing, but just the negativity that comes from some of them is kind of mind blowing. But other than that, I mean, they have a really good fan base. We have a really good fan base. I think that 100 Thieves will grow a bigger fan base than Optic, but like right now, I just think that the positivity from the 100 Thieves fans is just overcoming the Green Wall.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, I think it's safe to say that obviously once a community like that grows to be as big as it is, typically there's always going to be that bunch of people who are the negative ones and the most toxic throughout. And then obviously we're obviously going to have the ones that Hex likes to kind of talk about sometimes, which is the people who, when they're winning, they're there by their side, but then when they're losing, they're on the flip side, right? So, yeah. So, Sam, do you have a personal question actually before I move on? It would be only fair.
No, I'm just
no. Okay, so we have posted on Reddit earlier on this week. So I obviously, with you not being the biggest fan of Reddit, I don't know if you saw, but I do have quite a few questions actually from Reddit. So the first one coming from Sagu234, he said, "What team do you think Zuma and JCap will join?"
I don't know. I think that only teams that are looking to change are maybe EG and Envy, and maybe Red. I don't know if like the only team that I could think is possible them joining is Envy. just because of the fact that I don't see them joining EG, any of them joining EG. But I mean, the only possibility I can see is Envy, I guess, because it's kind of, it'll be weird to see EG JCap. Like, that just looks weird. Yeah, when it's like JCap Envy, where that's been a thing before. So maybe Envy if they make a change. I don't know if Envy's gonna make a change. I don't know if they've been playing too good lately. I've been really watching. So I don't know if any teams will make a change. So I don't know if they will join a team. But like I said, they may join EG because EG's been playing really bad. But I don't see any other teams they could, like top teams.
Okay, and actually, kind of just based off of the roster movement thing as well. Another name was just brought up in the chat, Scraps. Have you seen anything about that on Twitter?
I've been seeing the rumors of him joining Envy. That's it. Right. But other than that, I'm not really into that. I think that he is a really good player in this game. I think that he's pretty good at this game.
Right.
Like I said, I don't really know what team he could join other than like Envy or EG. And I don't think him joining EG is a smart move because Red's better than EG. I think that Envy maybe possibly. I just think that Hook's the GOAT, and so he just needs some help. That's it. That's it. So I don't know.
So if Envy were to make a roster change, who would you think that should be?
I think Silly's been playing pretty well, so I think I would keep Silly. Think that there's no really other main ARs that can really like replace Assault. Because who are you gonna pick up? You have like the best main AR. I mean, we have 2 main ARs on our team, so can't really grab those. So I think that they keep Silly and Assault and maybe drop Aches and App for 2 players. I think that's the only possibility because I don't know if they're gonna drop Silly. They might. It's a possibility still, but I think that he's been playing really good for them. So maybe not. You definitely don't drop Kyler Hook because that's a hard carry.
I think just to touch on this quickly, like especially with next year franchising, I think every team's going to kind of have that one player that they kind of stick by.
Right.
And I think Hugh is definitely the one that like they're just going to build their entire roster next year around him. So there's no way to get rid of him at this point.
100%. You have some players just have the franchise tag, and he's definitely he's had it before even franchising was a thing. So
yeah, exactly.
So perfect segue. The next question I got is from Furex. I don't know, but he asked thoughts on franchising and how you would like to see it play out.
Franchising?
That transition was completely intentional, by the way.
I don't.
No, it wasn't.
I don't really watch Overwatch or anything like that, so I don't really know how franchising goes or what the things about franchising is. So like I said, I just play COD, so I've been reading up on it lately, and I still don't know what's going on. So because I've never really like understood franchising at all, like when it came to Overwatch, like the Overwatch franchise league. So I think it's really cool that they moved to the city that they play under. I feel like that's pretty cool. Definitely something that could be added to our franchise league if possible. I don't know if that's happening, but I don't really want to do that because I don't know how long you have to stay in that city, and that's pretty. I get homesick even when I go leave for like events like that. So I think it'd be pretty cool to like do the city thing. I just hope if I do end up on a franchise team, that we're in a good city, not like some like boring city like Columbus.
So,
where
do you live, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm in Memphis, Tennessee.
Yeah. You live with your family?
I live with my best friend, my roommate, and yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Perfect. So, next question. D Barkley 100 asks, if you didn't play COD as an esport, what esport would you play?
I'm a really big fan of Rainbow Six Siege, so maybe that. Definitely not Fortnite because Fortnite it's Fortnite. If they do an Apex one, I would try Apex 100% because I love Apex. So Rainbow Six, Apex. I was trying Halo for a bit. Halo wasn't really for me. I didn't do bad in Halo, but definitely probably Rainbow Six or Halo. I mean, if we're talking like money wise, I would try CS:GO. But if anybody in here watches my stream, they know I suck at CS:GO, and that just not my thing.
Yeah, I was just about to say I did catch you playing some Siege actually the other day.
I'm all right. I'm all right. I'm working on it. It's fun.
Better than I am. Let's put it that way. So next one is well, it's not much of a question, but it's a question from a guy called Curve, who asks, "Who's your best Twitch mod?" And he actually gives you a hint. Says CS Plurge.
Spurs is definitely one of my top mods. I think Spurs is probably my best mod right now, 100%. Because every day I start my stream, he's first in. Literally, like most of the time, first in, and he does a lot for me in my stream, and he plays with me all the time. So Spurs is probably definitely my best mod right now. He's my guy.
There you go. He's actually right here in the chat as well.
So yeah. Ooh, holy shit! I'll be right back.
Let me see. Forbes in the chat. Yeah, I mean, but honestly, I mean, Forbes isn't always in. I feel like Forbes is definitely one of my top mods. I mean, I love all my mods. You're a mod for a reason, obviously, but Splurge is like first in all the time. He wants to play all the time. He's just there. He does my stuff that I need him to do. But so Forbes is definitely top up there. You have like Forbes. You have Hypo. You've had a lot of all my mods. I love y'all, but Splurge just takes the cake. I'm sorry.
There we go. Next question is from one of my loyal viewers, Mikey7285. He actually asked, "Who do you think has a better shot, Dashy or Gunless?"
Ooh. I think no, Gunless. I would say Gunless. I think that Dashy is disgusting, but I think that Gunless just has been, his shot is just crazy. He wins crazy gunfights. He always has, always will. But definitely Gunless. I think that I don't know. Yeah, I mean, they have both. I mean, you can't really tell. You can't really say who has a better shot, but like playing against them, I would say Gunless.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you have a better shot than everyone.
Whoa. No, I don't think. I don't know. I don't really gas on my shot too much. I definitely think I'm pretty talented. I think that I have a big knowledge gap on a lot of players on how to play the game. So I think I kind of give myself free kills all the time. But I definitely feel like I'm pretty talented. I don't think my shot's like one of the best in COD, but I can win a lot of gunfights. So
yeah, I mean, I think that's something that Nature also kind of prided himself on, right? Was more his knowledge of the game rather than his shot.
Nate he just couldn't shoot. Like I don't know, he just couldn't shoot. But I mean, I guess he was pretty smart. He was a pretty good S&D player in the time, but he just can't shoot. I don't know.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I definitely feel like there's a lot of players that, I'm sorry, I fixed my bandana, but my dog's barking. There's like certain players that have the perfect amount of good smarts and good skill, where like there's some players that have a lot of skill but less smarts. I feel like I'm getting to the point where I'm like one of those players that has like a good mixture of both. So like I'm not too skillfully talented. I do have a lot of smarts of the game, especially with my teammates, because my teammates have taught me a lot.
Okay, and Kyle Clashes asks, "How did you get into the competitive COD?"
I started, so back in the day I just play a lot of game battles and GBs, and one of my friends on the GB's team kind of like got me into. Okay, my dog is just like, I don't know what's wrong with him.
Take care of it.
I might have to hold on. Let me see.
Right. Yeah, no worries. Sounds like the dog's having a great time.
All right, quick. I have to say that Kenny's probably the best guest we've had so far.
Absolutely. Obviously, the energy, the vibes, everything.
We're back. Anyways, so what was the question?
How did you get into Call of Duty?
Okay, yeah. So back in the day, I just played a lot of GB and stuff like that, and it was like free. So one of my like players on my team were like, "Yo, you trying to play this tournament? Like, you're pretty good." And I started S&D tournaments, and so S&D tournaments and Ghosts were pretty popping, and I was kind of like one of the top S&D players. Like I was winning a lot. So I think that it just came down to me knowing the right people and how I got into competitive. S&D tournaments kind of like got my name out there to pros because I was pretty good, and like us pros, like aren't that. I mean, we are pretty good at S&D, but like we need to practice S&D, and our best way to practice S&D is S&D tournaments. So I had a lot of pros hitting me up to play S&D tournaments and seeing how I played, and that's what got my name out there. And then once AW came out, I was still playing S&D, but then I was sucking, so kind of wanted to try something new. And so I just started hitting up a lot of AM teams, and then got picked up on an AM team. In my first event, placed top 12 being my worst ever placing. Ooh, nice. Even in Halo.
Nice.
Even in Halo.
Even in Halo. Nice. Yep. Okay. Next question, and I like this one, is from Sammy HVRT. He asks, what's your favorite takeout food?
Ooh. Okay, like takeout food. Like,
bearing in mind that you have a strong relationship with nature, so be careful.
Right. Takeout food. Like, can fast food be considered that?
So fast food.
Then Chipotle. That was easy. I think all pro gamers love Chipotle, and Chipotle is just something I eat every day, and I have done it before. Chipotle or Zaxby's. I don't know if y'all ever had Zaxby's, but Zaxby's like top tier for me. So either Zaxby's or Chipotle. I love Chipotle. I can literally kill some Chipotle right now. But yeah, definitely Chipotle.
I actually just opened one up by my house. It's like the best day of my life. I could eat that every day, absolutely.
Same.
Yeah, see, I live in Canada and I don't live near Toronto, so I don't have that.
That's tough.
Luxury, unfortunately.
That's tough.
Yeah, every time I go down to Toronto, though, every single time I'm picking up Chipotle. So,
it's a must.
Next question is Docker J, sorry. How did he find his time on Just Us in Advanced Warfare, and what it like teaming with Envoy and Assault?
My time on Just Us, it was like my first pro team. So we're pretty cool, pretty vibey. Me and Adam Saul were actually the duo, literally my duo. It was a pretty fun team, really fun. Let me think. It was definitely fun team with Envoy and Assault. Like I said, Assault was my duo. Envoy was pretty weird back in the day. He just say some like really sketchy, like crazy stuff. AW wasn't his best game. Kind of cost me.
So when you say like sketchy and crazy stuff, do you mean like he'd come out with conspiracy
theories?
No.
Like some like the stuff you don't say. Like yeah, the stuff you just don't say. If he was as good as he is now, I think we'd have played way better in AW. Simple as that, homeboy. I think as a player, he's gotten way better than from when I teamed with him, and more mature, at least. I think so. That's what I've been told lately. But like I said, I think if he was as good as he is now, then we could have made a run at Worlds, which we played 6th. But I mean, we could have done better.
Okay, and
so quickly jump in really quick.
Go on.
I don't know if you answered this while I had to step out for a second, but someone in the chat said if you had to play for another org besides 100 Thieves, who would they be?
So some intel, but I got during the off season, I got hit up by Immortals, and Immortals like one of my favorite orgs. Probably them.
Okay.
Maybe Optics up there, but Immortals definitely. I would love to play for if I wasn't on RT, probably like Liquid or Immortals or like somewhere like them. I think Liquid's pretty dope. So definitely Liquid or them.
Yeah, I definitely would like to see some of these orgs come back, like Liquid, CLG, TSM,
right?
Immortals. I'd love to see. Obviously a couple of them had teams previously, but I'd love to see them come back.
Definitely.
Hopefully next year with franchising, they'll take the lead. But
maybe we'll
see.
Yeah. Awesome. So next question was from Falcon Hero 123. He asked, "How did you go through the hate after the PLQ?"
Like I said, I just stopped going on Reddit, to be honest. At the PLQ, I realized recently that the PLQ I just gave myself a big disadvantage. I was running stock 1 the whole time versus stock 2 players, and that's kind of detrimental. I definitely didn't play good at all. So like I said, I just took the time to just focus on me, and I just grinded. As simple as that. I literally just grinded, and like I said, I got moved to MaDaC, so a different role where my teammates believed in me, and I kind of I felt like I didn't have to prove anything to anyone except my teammates on why they kept me instead of Pharaoh. So kind of just grinded and got used to the MaDaC and my role. And when we first started, obviously it wasn't as good as I feel like I've gotten to now. But
Right.
it just came down to me learning from my teammates and them telling me where to go on the map. And like I said, I just played the game as much as I could, because I will agree that I kind of got complacent after my year last year, and that I wasn't grind like in the beginning of World War II. I literally didn't get off the game for like 2 weeks. So I think that as this game came on, I feel like I didn't play as much as I could. And after POQ, I kind of realized how bad I was playing, and kind of like knew I had to step my game up and just start playing as much as I could.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that works both ways, though, right? Obviously, with how well you did last year, I think obviously the expectations were pretty high of you. So, you know, even if you were playing somewhat better than you were, but it still wasn't up to the standard that people are expecting, you were still going to get that criticism, right? So,
and also, like, I've seen criticism where like people are like, Kenny was the best player last year. Like, he's not even close to that. And it's like, that I don't really take that as a roast. I kind of take that more as motivation, just because like you're calling me the best player in the world last year. Like, I obviously want to get back to that point, but I'm not there right now. And I just take it as motivation, where like I want people to keep saying that about me. So therefore, I'm not working for that title until my team starts winning. So whatever my team needs to win, then that's what I'm doing. And I think that as my team gets better, I get better. So
fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I think obviously it works as, like you said, motivation to knowing the fact that people have called you that before. No, it just shows that you have that ability, right?
Exactly.
And obviously, you are able to. Awesome. Well, a nice one to kind of move on to. This one's not even a question, but it's just to kind of gas you up a little bit after that last one. It came from Janabi. He said, "Respects to Kenny for showing love to the smaller content." Oh, that wasn't actually what I thought it said, but it said respect to Kenny for showing love to the smaller content creators in the community. Next question, which actually is a question, which was from CX in the chat 97. He said, "What's it like having Slasher and Octane on the same team?"
There's nothing really. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Sam is like, I don't know. That guy is a different beast. Like, he is so good. I don't know. He is so good. It's actually insane how good he is. Slasher's disgusting as well. It's kind of like weird because like you have Slasher, who was a main AR, and he's kind of taken out of that role. But I kind of like give all my respect to him, because he's kind of switched up his role, and he's still playing like same as he always has, like, which is pretty good. And like I said, they're both like really disgusting, and I think they both have like the same mindset on how to play the game. So I think that having them both on the same team as ARs kind of helped me switching from a sub to AR. And they've kind of like done a lot to like help me get in the right position on the map, and help me with my gameplay.
Right.
Someone in the chat just said, "Who is your favorite team to play against?"
Favorite team to play against? Right now, probably Splice. I like playing Splice just because I'm good friends with a lot of them. People probably would think I would say Optic, but it's definitely fun to play against Optic fans. But I would say Splice as me, because I like to play against my duo Lamar and Temp, and just that team in general.
Do you feel like that's because they play like good fundamental Call of Duty, and like they play it well?
Yeah, I think a lot of teams play good fundamental. I feel like they are definitely one of the most fundamental hard. Like it's because like they're not insanely good at one mode. They're evenly good at every mode. That's what makes Splice so good of a team. They're so good at every single game mode, and that's good to play against. That's fun to play against. Like, so you have to focus on your map. Like, we're good at control, and we know for a fact we're not going to just smoke them in control when we play them. So it's kind of a good feeling to play against them. Like I said, if it comes to like the hype of the match, I definitely would pick Optic, but as a player, I'm picking Splice.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to, obviously, one, they're a good team competitively to play against, but the fact that you've got close relationships to people on that team as well obviously adds that extra kind of sense of wanting to beat them even more, right?
Exactly,
yeah, makes sense. So another one, we're pretty much almost at the end now. We have one from Zik301 who asked, "What's your favorite shoes in your closet?" Right.
My favorite shoes in my closet are my off-white UNC ones. I did a shoe collection video, like a stream the other day.
Okay.
And yeah, those are my favorite shoes. Like they were my shoes that I've always wanted when I seen them first come out, and I ended up gifting them to myself after we won SC playoffs last year, and I was so happy that I got those. So yeah, those are definitely my favorite shoes right now.
Very nice. I was actually gonna say, can you show us which ones you mean? But because of the fact that no. So because of the fact that you just said that you made a video, plug your YouTube video channel. I mean, well, and we'll get people to go watch it over there.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, YouTube video. My YouTube is just Quavo Kenny. All socials are Quavo Kenny. Except for my Twitch. I don't know why I don't have Quavo Kenny as my Twitch, but kind of want to change it now. So, but no, yeah, those are definitely my favorite. I mean, I've tweeted a video. I did a video of me tweeting it. So you want to check it out on Twitter, you can.
Perfect. There you go.
Another question from the chat. Quick. Favorite event or memory from the Call of Duty scene?
Favorite memory or event is definitely Dallas when we won our first event, because like coming up as a person, well, not like a person that wasn't like seen as really that good because I was just picked up on TK. Winning your first event is just the best feeling ever. Just because of the fact that when you join a lower tier team, you never, and in the back of the head, you never like think you're gonna win. It's just, I mean, you want to win, but you never like have the thought in your head that you're gonna win. So, definitely winning my first event is one of the greatest feelings ever. Kind of something I want to feel again. So, definitely that.
Okay.
Maybe you'll be winning the first champs. Who knows? Same.
Maybe.
Another question from the chat. This one's coming from Purify. If you could team with anyone who you haven't teamed with already, who would it be?
Either Karma, JCap, or who else? Hook. No, actually, no. Let's do this. Let's do this. Karma, Temp, Hook.
Okay. I like it.
There's no offense to JCap though, but.
Fair enough. And then this is I like this question more so because of the fact that I think it's one that a lot of people would like to know. So it comes from Chiller Hibbs. Yeah, Chiller Hibbs. This one's also from Reddit. He asks, what have you personally implemented into your game or into your day-to-day life to in order to be able to improve and get to where you are today?
So I tell my stream this all the time. So when people ask me like how you get better at COD or just in general, I always tell them to grind, but I feel like people take grinding the wrong way. People think that grinding is just playing the game every day, just getting on, just playing COD. When grinding is really just like getting on and finding out what's so bad about your gameplay and what you need to fix. So there's always going to be something bad about your gameplay. You just need to solely work on one thing at a time. So what I did is my mechanics on the game weren't really good. My movement or nothing like that was really good. So I kind of like worked on that first, then worked on my shot. Is like grinding comes down to just grinding. What do you want to do? Get out real quick. Get out real quick. While I do this. All right. Anyways, grinding comes down to like literally just grinding the stuff that that you need to work on. So like basically all your bad things you need to work on and just like solely work on one thing day by day. Once you fix those things, you'll see yourself just getting progressively better. So like I said, grinding doesn't mean time. Grinding means like putting that time to, I don't even know. I can't even like really explain it. It's just basically like,
I give you a chance to do what you're supposed to do.
What are y'all?
Get your shit. Yeah.
Y'all is tripping. I'm trying to do this thing. Y'all is tripping. Anyways, yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it though. I just think that people think that grinding is just getting on playing every day and just like if you're gonna play it every day, you're not gonna get better because you don't even know what's wrong with your gameplay. Like you're getting on and assuming that you have bad things, but you don't even know what the bad things are. So kind of like you should have to focus on getting those fixing those bad things first, and then you'll see yourself getting better.
It's really just coming down to being your own like biggest critic.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Looking out for what those things are and being able to actually adjust to it and not be in denial about what you're bad about.
Exactly.
What you're bad at doing. Perfect.
So another question coming from chat.
Yeah.
I don't remember who asked it, but funniest behind the scenes moment, 100 Thieves so far. No, I feel like with this roster, there's probably some absolute gold.
Oh, there are some gold. I think the funniest behind the scenes so far, there are some that hasn't been posted or something like that. But I think the Totino's one was hilarious. The Totino, like the behind the scenes, like it took us forever. It took us 6 hours to record that. That's short.
Really?
Yeah. It took us 6 hours just because there is so much laughing like everywhere, and like it was a part where like Enable has the helmet on, and if y'all could just see him have the helmet on like behind the scenes, it was the funniest thing ever. Definitely one of the funniest things ever. So definitely the Totino's commercial.
Perfect. Quitella earlier on in the chat was asking, who do you think is the burner?
Ooh.
So when the burner first came out, I had a feeling it was Nameless, but
okay,
I don't think it's him anymore. Kind of like forgot about the burner, even though he's been posting. So I don't think the burner is one person, but I kind of like I don't really know. I mean, Clayster, maybe, I don't know. I really don't. It's kind of hard. It's so hard that they do make it like hard to figure out who it is, obviously. But like I said, I have my thoughts on it being Nameless for a good minute. But
nice.
Just because like there were things I said and it was like posted on Reddit where like there was only a certain amount of people in there, and I just know like it was one of them. But you can't really like say it's one of them because like they could like go tell another person and that person could just
to somebody else. Exactly.
Yeah. So
yeah,
that's pretty much that.
Okay, so down to the last couple of questions here now. So another quick and fun one. Who's the most annoying player on 100 Thieves? This actually also came from
most annoying player, like as a most annoying player.
Yeah, take it as you see it.
Enable is annoying. Nah, I was just saying he's annoying. Nah, I don't think there's one more annoying player on the. If there had to be an annoying player, it would just be Enable. I don't think there's like anybody that's annoying like where I just like get annoyed by. But I don't know. He's just funny. He's like funny annoying. How about that? So I think that's pretty much,
right.
Okay. And then
one more question from chat. Someone asked, "What is your thoughts on the United roster? What do you see? Like, what is their ceiling?"
I think that they took off JCap and added talent. I think Sim's pretty good, but I don't think they're there yet. Obviously, I think their potential is pretty high. I think they have a high ceiling, but also think that with them dropping JCap, they lose a lot of smarts and kind of fundamentals. So I think that they could have been better, like dropping Clay and keeping Cap. That's just my 2 cents. Obviously, no offense to Clayster at all, but I just think that they need somebody that's going to keep the team together. I don't think that Clay is that type of person. I don't have a team with Clay, so I don't know. But no,
that's fair.
Do
you think that kind of comes down to obviously the drama that happened shortly before that, like before they dropped Cap, when obviously Clayster was involved, and obviously we heard Pac-Man saying about how Clay's not that kind of guy to let things go and kind of make amends.
I think that definitely played into it. I also think that United put the franchise tag on Clay, so that's why he hasn't been dropped yet. Yeah. So it kind of sucks because like at the time where they wanted to make a change, and they tweeted out that they wanted Clay dropped, that JCap wasn't playing too well, so like that kind of like didn't help his situation at all. But I feel like he was playing way better. That the possibility of Clay getting dropped could have been a thing.
Fair enough. Right. Okay, so last question I want to get from the chat. Quitella asked, "Who do you think is the biggest up and comer?"
BZ. I think that BZ. I feel like last year I was giving BZ props. Props last year, even playing against him because I could tell how talented he was. I think this year, if they consider it his rookie year, he will get Rookie of the Year. And it's funny because like even at the beginning of the year, I kind of told him, he was like he gave me congratulations when I got Rookie of the Year, and I told him that this year was his, and he's been showing signs of it being his easily. So I think that this is definitely his game, and I think he's the biggest up and comer.
Awesome. And so then the last question I wanted to ask is, obviously you've been talking about Enable a little bit, and how he's your current duo on 100 Thieves, and how he's a bit of a jokester. So I wanted to just ask, what's the funniest Enable story?
I can't give y'all the funniest one because it got too much. It's like it's not up a stream.
You can give us.
Let me think. Let's see. I don't know. It's kind of hard because there's so many funny moments. But let's see. All right, so there's this one time at dinner, and he this is always a recurring thing. So every time we go out to eat, Ian has this thing where he only eats half of his food. You can give him one egg roll, he will eat half of the egg roll, and he'll be full. You can give him anything, and he will eat half of it. So it's like every time we go out, I'm always on him, like, Ian, bro, you gotta eat your food, and he does this thing like every time. So like, you'll be eating, and I'm like, yo, Ian, is that fire? He's like, bro, this is heat. Heat. So I'm like, all right. So after like 5 seconds, he would do this. He like reach up like this, and he was like stretch. And I just know at that point he's not touching his food ever again. Literally, and it's and I call him out on it every time. And so we're like making this segment. Like now I've been recording him every time. Every time we go out to eat, I'm gonna record and make sure I like have the documents of him not eating his food because he will only eat half of what you give him all the time. He actually, there's one time where he had what did he have? He had tacos. He had 3 tacos. Right. He ate half of one and then half of another one. Instead of eating one full one, he ate half of one and a half and then left it. It's like, what?
That is like the weirdest thing I've ever heard.
It's his thing. He eats half of whatever you give him. Tell him.
Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing that you documenting that as well, and everybody here in the chat, you guys can all look out for that, and we'll all know that this is where it stems from. Hi, Bionic just said that's weird. Drop him.
That's hilarious. Nice try though. Nice try.
Awesome. So yeah, I mean that pretty much wraps it up from us, Kenny. I really want to thank you for coming on the podcast.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I think that we were kind of saying before about how you always have those good vibes, and definitely I feel like we've felt it on the podcast tonight. So really appreciate it.
No problem.
And before you go, I do just want to ask once again, I know you did mention it before, but where can everybody find you when you're obviously not here on the podcast with us?
Right. So like I said, on all socials, my at or just social is Quabble Kenny, except for my stream, which is Quabble Ken, just K-E-N. So you can definitely find me on all of those. If you add me on Snapchat though, I do respond the most on Snapchat. Some of the times I haven't been lately because I've been busy, but Snapchat, I add everybody back on Snapchat, and I respond on Snapchat the most. So if you want to get in touch with me, definitely add me on Snapchat.
Perfect. And how often do you stream?
I stream every day, before scrims and after scrims.
Perfect. So what games do you usually play?
I play COD, usually around like 2 Central to like 1 or 2 Central to like 4 or 5, and then after, whenever we finish, I stream around like 10 p.m. Central to like whenever I get tired.
Perfect. And how often do you upload on YouTube?
I just started back YouTube again, so I've been uploading every other day because my editor kind of has to edit my videos, but I've been recording scrims and stuff like that, so I've been uploading, I guess, a day, then I skip a day, and then the next day, so every other day.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Well, once again, thank you, Kenny, for coming on.
This was really fun.
Really appreciate it.
This was really fun. I like this.
Thank you. And obviously, good luck next week with the Pro League.
Thank you.
And hopefully, in the future, we can have you on again.
Definitely. Just hit me up.
Let your teammates know you had fun too. We'd love to have all of them on.
Got you. Will do.
Thanks, dude. We really appreciate it.
No problem. Y'all have a good one.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks, Kenny. Bye-bye.
What a nice guy.
All right.
Like,
absolutely. Yeah, like I just said, I think he's just 100% real. He has those good vibes. He brings the energy all the time, and yeah, I think it added to us as well. So
right.
definitely my favorite guest on the podcast so far. So also big shout out to everybody in the chat. You guys have been popping off all the way through this. I really appreciate that as well. Real quick, I know we are going to go over a few more things here before we end the podcast, but I just want to give a shout out to all the people that have been following the stream. So we've got Ryan at RBM, Codbops11, Achilles, Samaji Not the Goat, Splurge, obviously the mod, Quitella, Snowy Wolf 1W, Grizzle My Nizzle, Purify.
What are these names?
YRN Kivo 94, B Gamer 4, Perex, Michael Cam 98, the Malu Deal 676, Billy Boy Jam, No Drone, and Confluences. Thank you all for the follow. I appreciate it, guys. And then, of course, thanks to you, Sam, for the 4-month resub.
Yeah, of course. I just want to give a shout out to someone in chat. I want to make sure I say their username right. I'm not sure if they're still here or not, but I believe it was Kenny's mom. And
yes,
I would love to like have her on the show and get like different perspective, because obviously, you know, a lot of the people we have on kind of have the same point of view on all of this, but it would be really interesting to have her on at some point and you know, just hear a parent's point of view on a kid wasting their time playing video games. Oh wait, they've just won a championship. Like
exactly. Yeah. And there you go. So Mama Quavo is still in the chat as well.
Quavo. Yeah. So if you are on Twitter, Mama Quavo, if you could post your ad, I would love to contact you about that. That'd be great.
I actually think I may already follow.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. So anyway, moving on, I think kind of to wrap up things here, we wanted to just kind of go over our predictions of the upcoming week, and then obviously lock in those predictions so that everybody in the chat can make fun of us next week when we're completely fine again.
Yep. Quickly before we do that though, I just have one thing I would just like to tell you about. I'm not sure if you're aware of this amazing service. It's actually run through Amazon. It's called Audible. It's a really small branch of Amazon, and you can get all of your audiobooks on there. I believe there's just a small amount. There's about 100,000, I believe, on there. Really not that many, and you can really just extend your support of the show, being in chat, listening, watching, however you're consuming this content. You can go to audibletrial.com/the CWL podcast, and you can sign up for 1 month free access to those small little 100,000 audiobooks that they have there. And it just another way just to support the show, and we do really appreciate it.
Perfect. So big shout out as well to Nopeco. Never mind. I'm not no Pico without McVitie's in the chat. He's one of the guys I work with.
Oh,
thank you, Jamie. So yes. So moving on to this next week, we are moving into week 6 of the CWL. First day on Monday, we've got 4 games going up. We've got Denial versus Gen G, Midnight versus Splice, E6 versus Optic, and of course Reciprocity versus 100 Thieves.
So I don't know how you have the schedule laid out. I have the CallOfDuty.com schedule in front of me, and so the entire right side is the team that's going to win. It's going to be Gen G, Splice, Optic, 100. Simple.
Yeah. So
simple as that.
I have it laid out like that as well. And I'm not on the same page, but yes, it's the same. And yeah, no, I'm going to agree. Gen G, Splice, Optic, and 100 Thieves, 100%.
Yep. And I feel like I should say this out loud. I do kind of have to watch teams and organizations who support us. So
yeah,
we had 2 members of UIU on the show. I would support UIU. We've had a member of 100 Thieves. I will support 100 Thieves. Not that I wouldn't anyway, but I just feel like my biases should be in public.
Me too.
Yeah. Shout out to those people. Anyway, moving on to Tuesday, we have Optic versus Denial, Reciprocity versus E6, 100 Thieves versus Midnight, and Splice versus Gen G. And so I did just post into chat the schedule for anybody that needs to take a look.
Okay. So I'm going to go first on this one. Since you went first last time, I'm going to say, so remember what you said about the right side? I'm going to say the same thing about the left side. So I'm going with...
Can you stop stealing my takes, please?
Optic, Reciprocity, 100 Thieves, and Splice. I knew you were going to go there, so I decided to steal it first.
All right.
So yeah, Optic, Reciprocity, 100 Thieves, Splice. That's where I'm going.
I feel like so many things that Kenny touched on. Midnight, they're just all 5 skilled players, but they're not playing together yet. They're not on the same page. That's just so true. I feel like Denial is just outclassed by all of these teams, which it really sucks for them. They, they're trying. They try their hardest, all right, but
of course
they're just outclassed. I think Reciprocity with Dylan is just a whole nother beast that we haven't even seen the full. Reciprocity is not in their final form yet, and we will hopefully see that soon. And 100 Thieves and Splice, we talked about they're just fundamentally good teams. I just don't see them falling to the likes of Midnight, or I think the Splice Gen G game will be good, but I still see it going the way of Splice.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think if any, out of all the games, I think that's possibly the only one that goes to maybe a game 5. Yeah. Otherwise, I think it's pretty much all going to be like 3-1s. Yeah. So moving on to then Wednesday, we've got E6 versus Midnight, Denial versus Reciprocity, Gen G versus 100 Thieves. Sorry, 100 Thieves, and Optic versus Splice.
All right. I'm calling.
This is where it gets interesting.
It's going to be... I'm trying to make like a pattern out of this. I don't think I can make it work.
Yeah. No.
I'm thinking E6 over Midnight. Again, just they're not on the same page yet. But this would be their 3rd match. Presumably, like Kenny said, 3 scrims a night plus 3 matches. So... Yeah. That's what 12 games that they've played together. Maybe they're more on the same page. We'll see. Really, Reciprocity. Just Dylan is just. I can't speak highly enough about that guy. I really.
Yeah.
If
he's been a game changer for.
If Abizi doesn't win, what is the word? New player, rookie of the year. I could definitely see it being Dylan.
Yeah.
If he continues his current form, at least I should say.
Of course.
And 100 Thieves, again, I could see that 100 Thieves versus Gen G, I could see that being a close game again, but probably going the way of 100 Thieves. And Optic versus Splice.
I'm actually going to say 3-1.
Which one?
100 Thieves, Gen G.
Really?
Yeah.
I see it as a 3-2, and it's going to be like a 6-3 game 5 to 100 Thieves. Like they'll let it get that flaw, and then they'll be like, "Oh shit! Like we need to actually like pick up a play now," and they'll like.
Kenny's gonna get the 2-piece to win the game.
Calling it now, dude. I'm gonna clip it, and we're gonna play it. That's gonna be the opening of the stream next week.
So, and then I mean, Optic versus Splice, obviously the big game of the day. I think there. You know what? I think Splice take it, to be honest. I think Splice take that one.
I agree with you, but it all comes down to Karma. Like, you've seen what he can do. There's a reason he has 3 rings.
Yeah. Like, no, you're right.
But if he's having one of his off days, which he does, then, we're going to really see what happens. And I actually watched a video, one of Hex's podcasts. I think it was the 600 Seconds with Karma.
Yeah.
He said that their play depends on how the young ones play. So, like, if they just run around
that makes sense.
with their heads cut off, then, like chickens with their heads cut off, excuse me, then they're going to lose. But if they can actually mentally get into the game, then they do well. And then moving into, I think, so the last game on, was this Wednesday, and the last 2 games on Thursday, if they're not
the big ones of the week,
if they are not the most viewed games in the CWL to this point, I will be very surprised. That big name orgs, big, like exciting games. It's not just a run of the mill boring 3-0. These will be real exciting, interesting
right down
games.
To the wire.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
So then I'll run through the Thursday for you. You do have Gen G versus E6, Midnight versus Denial, Splice versus Reciprocity, and then 100 Thieves versus Optic.
Yeah, so I mean, Midnight versus Denial, I think that's actually where Midnight pick up the first win. Unfortunately, for them, that matchup didn't come earlier on in the week, because I think that could have been a real game changer for them if they had that match earlier on and they got that win earlier on. I think they could have definitely had at least a bit of a better week, maybe taking that match against E6. But with the way it's turned out, yeah, I think that's going to be their only win, and even then, it might well go to a game 5 as well. Gen G E6, I think that's actually going to be a pretty close game as well.
Yep,
I think E6 are going to put up a good fight against Gen G. Although I think Gen G should win, I definitely think it's going to be a lot closer than some people might think. Splice Reciprocity, I am actually going to say Reciprocity on this one. See you typing away, probably taking down my prediction, but yeah, that's what I'm going with.
But
oh, okay.
I think that's going to be a real great matchup. Just for anybody who's not actually looking at the chat, I was saying
you might just cut out completely at the wrong time. So make sure to follow the stream, guys, is what Sony was trying to say.
Thank you. Splice versus Reciprocity is going to be a real good match. There's no denying it.
Yeah. And then obviously the big one, 100 Thieves versus Optic. Honestly, I actually see Optic coming out of this week 2-2. Because, like I said, I think that Splice takes it, and then I think 100 Thieves are going to beat Optic as well.
I wouldn't rule it out, and they've looked real flat in scrims, so wouldn't surprise me. It would disappoint me, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. Fair.
So, all right. What is your prediction for this next week that we can talk about at the beginning of next week's show?
I mean, I really like the idea that you had last week, and obviously what I kind of went with Kenny. Team to go 4-0, and team to go 0-4. Okay. So I, in all honesty, have to agree with what Kenny said. I think 100 Thieves 4-0. I think. So yeah, I'll say 100 Thieves 4-0, and I think Reciprocity is going to go 3-1. And then 0-4, I think, is going to be Denial.
Hold on, let me just write this down. So 100T 3-0. Oh no, 4-0, right?
Yeah, 4-0.
Rec will be
Reciprocity 3-1, and then Denial 0-4.
Denial. You're just stealing all my takes. I really hate you right now.
Good.
Now I've got to come up with something ridiculous. Let me see. E6 gonna lose to Optic. No, I'm not feeling E6. Denial is gonna shock everyone and go. Let me see. One. They're gonna go 2-2. Okay. I believe they could pick up a win against Midnight, and they definitely could pick up a win against Gen G. I don't necessarily see it happening, but it's called bold predictions for a reason.
Absolutely. If I was to make a bold prediction, I would have gone with that, to be honest.
Yeah. Hold on, you've made 3 predictions. Let me make another one. I don't think any team's going to go 4-0. I think this is such a stacked group with absolutely some of the best players in the world. And some of these matches are such coin flips. Team goes 4-0.
Perfect. There we go. There we have it. So, anything else?
Only just to say, follow us on social medias. We do have a personal. We do have.
Okay, so I'm gonna take over because your mic sucks. So for anybody who's still tuned in, I really appreciate it. Also, real quick, another quick shout out to Geocozy for following the stream, Gifted Season, Castro, XVI, and Ori, I'm guessing is how I say your name. I've seen you throughout the stream. Thank you. But yeah, so this is pretty much going to be the end of the episode. So once again, thank you all for tuning in. Be sure to hit us up on Twitter. We've been having a couple of people already DMing us both personally and to the podcast Twitter, and it's great to see suggestions and everything else. So if you have anything, be sure to DM us, and we'll have the podcast's Twitter DMs and my personal DMs are open. Sam's, are yours?
I believe so. If they're not, I will make them.
Perfect. Okay, so and then as far as following us, so Sam, you can find Sam on Twitter at Stoney with a 7 instead of a T, so that's S7 ONEY. You can find me at MaDaC FPS on all social medias except from YouTube, which is just MaDaC. And then of course you can also follow the podcast Twitter, which is at the CWL podcast, which again you can see at the top of your screens right now. So other than that, I just want to remind everybody as well, for if ever you are falling a little bit behind and you're not able to watch us when we do stream the episode live on Twitch, we do then upload the VOD to YouTube the next day. And actually, I didn't run this by you, Sam, yet, but I'm making the executive decision. So we have been uploading the YouTube video the next day at 6 p.m. or 6:30 p.m. sorry, our time. I'm actually going to be uploading it by 10 a.m. Sorry, yeah, 6:30 p.m. was what it used to be. It's going to be 10 a.m. our time moving forward, so that people in Europe and places like that are able to catch it at a much more convenient time. And then also tomorrow you'll be able to find it on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and
Google Play.
Remember?
Google Play.
There we go. Google Play. So we're across everywhere. Be sure to, even if you guys aren't going to listen there, be sure to go ahead and follow us. Shows us that we're doing a good job. We can see that you guys are interested. And otherwise, I have one task for everybody who's still in the stream. I want you to go ahead right now, just while you're listening to this, I want you to go tweet at the CWL podcast and let us know who you want to see on the podcast this upcoming week. I have a couple of people in mind. I want to know what you guys think. Sam, anything to add?
Oh, I was just going to say, do we have a guest for next week? You kind of already answered.
Yeah, like I said, I have a couple of people in mind for sure, but I want to know what the people want.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So, without further ado, once again, thank you all for watching. I really appreciate you guys being here. And we will, do we know what time next week actually yet?
We do not.
No, okay. Perfect. So, without further ado, thank you all once again for watching, and we will see you guys.
When you press the right button.
Where am I? No, I'm just looking for right here. Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh my god, that was way too loud. Okay, never mind. We will see you guys later.